Nidhi, can you share your screen? Okay, good evening, everyone. Quick one, I'm just going to introduce you to what this series is all about, what we intend to achieve, and how we plan to achieve them. Like Video said, it's organized by the African community. Our plan is to have 3 different cohorts to train RPA developers to make sure we have grounded RPA developers in African countries. We have Lagos, that is Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa onboarded already. And we plan to reach out to other African countries that we have. So this series is the first series, which is what we are doing presently, is for those that are not developers, those that just want to come into robotics process automation space, people that want to learn what robotics is all about and how to use it and benefit them in their organization. From after this series, after this cohort, we'll be moving to the next cohort for the developers. The same set of people, that is the people we have here, will also be invited for the next cohort to train you on how to build more processes or more bots using UiPath. UiPath is one of the largest software company for robotics process automation, and that is why we are using UiPath. Okay, after that, we'll go to the advanced, that is this, after the second cohort. The third cohort will be advanced robotics process automation, and that will be the last cohort for this series this year. I'm going to allow Nidhi take over. She's going to anchor us for today. So join me as Nidhi continue from there. Nidhi.
Hello, everyone. I hope my audio is fine. Emmanuel, can you confirm?
Yes.
Perfect. So again, welcome to the first series of Become an RPA Citizen Developer. My name is Nidhi, and today I'll be giving you the introduction of the tool, of what the term RPA Citizen Developer means, and how you can kickstart your RPA journey using UiPath StudioX. Again, this is going to be a hands-on session. So if you want to install the UiPath StudioX with me and create your first robot, you are most welcome. If you're not able to do it, you can watch the recording. Also, you can post your questions in the chat window where Emmanuel will be helping you out. Okay, with that, let's start with the session 1, which is introduction and getting started with StudioX. This is going to be a completely introduction session. We are not going to create, I would say, complex robots. So you will just get the overview of the tool, what are the features the tool gives you, and how you can start your journey. So this is our team for today. As I said, this is Nidhi Chaturvedi, and we have the host Emmanuel and Christina with us. We also have Afe, Jonathan, and Vibor with us. And now, before we actually jump into the UiPath StudioX, let's first understand what the term RPA, or the robotic process automation, means. For that, I'll be sharing a video.
This is the story of work. It started a long time ago, on a Monday, which was handy. For as long as history itself, the humans needed to work. They wanted to work, to grow things and create things and build things, to see what they were capable of, to stand at day's end and say, I did that, which felt pretty good. So they worked more, built more, and created more, and traveled to far-off places. And then someone suggested submitting expense reports for those far-off places. His name was Glenn, and he was a jackass. Anyway, the people kept getting better at work. They built better tools to work more efficiently. They built amazing machines to work faster. They built computers to work smarter. But still, they couldn't do enough work. Because during all that work to do more work, they had created work, and not the good kind. Not the let's sit around and come up with ideas kind. Not the I can't wait to get to work so I can jump into a new project kind. The crap kind. The drudge and data and admin and the damned expense reports. So the humans had to work more at work they didn't like. That made them robotic. That didn't inspire. They had to postpone vacations. They had to miss family dinners. They were pissed. And then something happened. Someone had a really amazing idea. They came into work and said, stop working and start working. The humans thought she might have had wine at lunch, so she showed them a way to put the fun back into work, to waste less time doing the things they hated, to make more efficient the big tasks, to stop making the humans act like robots and start teaching the robots to learn the humans. Not to replace people, but to free them. Even Glenn. Robots that learn you. Imagine the potential, like starting over, to help us remember again that work only really works when we're happy at it.
Okay, so this has been the story of work with the improvement in technologies, and we human interacting more and more with the digital computers, laptops, and softwares. We're spending more time and becoming bots. So to reboot the work, this is where the RPA comes into the picture. So if you look at the definition of what is RPA, RPA is the technology that enables a software program to mimic human actions while interacting with the computer applications to accomplish required tasks. And some of the human interactions that can be automated are the basic keyboard inputs, mouse movements and clicks, and reading computer screen as well. So if we simplify the whole concept of RPA, the RPA let you mimic the task you are performing on your system, on your screen, laptops, using a software called a UiPath. So RPA as a whole is a technology where the UiPath helps you to automate your day-to-day tasks. Now, what are the tasks that you can automate that are very simple, which involves keyboard input? So if you're typing something into the application, right, this is something that can be taken care by the robot. If you're doing mouse clicks and the movements on your screens, you're filling up a form, you are clicking on a submit button, you are clicking on the login button, this all can be taken up by a bot. You do not have to do it because the RPA robot can simulate the actions on behalf of you on the screen. Again, reading computer screen. If you're reading something from the screen, right? If you're reading, for example, you are reading emails or you are reading a particular form, you are checking the current stock price or anything from the screen, right? So again, this can be easily done by a software robot, which we generally call as the technology as RPA. So it is nothing but it is simulating the actions, all the keyboard inputs, mouse, and reading from the screen on behalf of you. And this is something is a software program. It is not a hardware program. So you have to have it on your system as a software. Now, what RPA is not. So just now we saw that it is a software program, but most of the time we get confused and understand it as a hardware robot itself, right? So again, I would say what RPA is not is also equally important to understand. It is not a humanoid robot, which you are seeing on the screen. It is completely not. It is not a human replacement. The RPA cannot replace the humans because the RPA is intended to take care of the boring, mundane task, which is rule-based. But if it is something that requires your intelligence, your brain, this is not that can be taken up by the RPA, right? So do not worry, it is not to replace the humans again. And again, it is not about just another cost-saving method. If you're working in a company and you think that the RPA is coming into your company or in your projects, this is just another cost saving method. It is not. It has many other benefits, which we will be looking at in the later slides. Now, let's understand more about what software robots can do. Now we know what is RPA. RPA is a software robot that can mimic the human actions, right? Now, what are the basic capabilities of this software robot? If you look at the screen, there are certain points, but there are more capabilities if you explore more, but let's look at them as of now. First is logging into any application. So if you're coming in your office and you log into certain applications, say 4 to 5 applications, you open your Gmail, you open your Outlook, again, you have 4 to 5 applications, right? That you come daily and open it, right? This is something that you're doing on a daily basis and repeatedly, right? So this is something a software robot can do. It can simulate your actions. It can log in on behalf of you in those applications, right? Move files and folders. If this is something you are doing on a day-to-day basis, you are downloading files and from, say, your mails. So if you're someone working in the HR department, so you could be dealing with a lot of resumes, you will be working with lots of documents, Word, PDF in various formats, right? So what you can do is you can let the robot do on behalf of you, downloading files, renaming them, moving them, zipping them, sending, replying, anything you can do using the software robot. So it is capable to interact or automate your task that involves files and folders. The third one says scrap data from the web. If you are reading anything from the web application as part of your task or your day-to-day task, then this can be taken up by the software robot. Now, extract contents from documents, PDFs, emails, and forms. If your day-to-day tasks require to read the documents, and the document format could be PDFs or the emails or any other forms, right? So this is again can be taken up by the software robots. So something when it comes to reading the data from the screen, right? It is capable to read from any of the web page, as well as any formats, document formats that involves PDFs, emails, forms, or XLS or a PPT or any other format, right? Again, open emails and attachments. If you are someone who is again working with a lot of, I would say, mail-based tasks, then again, software robot can help you. It can open email, send, reply, anything that you want to perform with the emails, it can be easily done. Again, as part of the attachments, you can attach the attachments in your email and send them, right? Make calculations. If you have to do basic rule-based calculation of basic arithmetic operations, right? This is again can be taken up by the software robots. So these are the basic functionalities you can achieve, and you can create your own helping robots to help you in your day-to-day life. Again, you will explore more once you start your journey in the automation, and you will see it is capable now to interact more, right? You can work with OneDrive, you can work with the SharePoint. There are so many applications you can automate, right? Now, benefits of RPA. Why do we want RPA in any organization or any individual? Why they have to start their journey in RPA, or why it is needed, right? So the major advantages of RPA adoption by a business are here. So increase execution speed. So if a task is being performed by a human, right, with say X speed, right? If the robot is performing the same time, it can be actually achieved in a lesser number of time. So it actually multiplies the speed. It can reduce the overall work time, right? So if you're logging into the application, you're filling up a form in say 1 hour, the robot can actually do it within the 15 minutes, right? Because it is a software program and it is more compatible with the softwares and can do everything on behalf of you. Again, the second one says enhanced accuracy. There are possibilities that the human can make error while filling up the form, putting the data, making the calculations, while it is not in the case of a software robot. If you have trained it to do some kind of calculations, it will perform the same arithmetic or any other calculations every time the same. So it is very much gives you enhanced accuracy. And this is very helpful when you are working in a finance department, because this is where the enhanced accuracy is of much, much importance. Improved regulatory compliance. Again, since you have less errors, right? You are complying with all these standards, right? So it improves the overall regulatory compliance. So for example, there is a limited time within which you have to reply a customer, right? Otherwise it will be a SLA breach, right? So if there is a human, there could be a possibility that they can skip or they can extend that particular SLA. But when it comes to the RP or the software robots, they are on time and they do the task intended within the permitted time. So that's why the improved regulatory compliance, reduced cost of process execution. Again, if a task is being done by two humans, right, it can be taken up by a single robot. So it is reducing the overall cost in terms of the manual, FTE saving, what we say. Now, easier scaling. Again, if you have implemented one bot in a HR department and the same task has to be done in the IT department, you can simply deploy the same software robot in the IT department. While in the other case, you will be needing two humans to taking care of the same bot in the HR department and the IT department. So the easier scaling is possible with the software robot. So these are the few benefits of the RPA. On top of that, the major benefit of RPA is the employee satisfaction. So if you are taking the boring task from an employee and giving them more meaningful task, right? It is making an employee more satisfactory and they can actually focus on more meaningful things, right? So these are the benefits of using RPA. Now, what are the process best suited for RPA? Can we automate all the tasks? No, we cannot. There is a certain criteria we have to follow, and we have to look into a process whether it can be automated or not. The basic rule for the RPA to judge whether a process is suited for the automation or not are these three. The first one is it should be repetitive. It should be repeating a number of times. If it is only happening a single time, it can be done by a software robot, but it is not meaningful to do those tasks. For example, if you are doing something, for example, once in a month or once in a 4 months, right, it does not make a sense to automate it because you will be spending more time to create a software robot, and in the meantime you could have already done it using your manually, right? So it should be repetitive. It should be happening more number of times. The frequency should be more. For example, on a day-to-day basis, if you're coming and logging into 4 to 5 applications on a daily basis and it takes half an hour of your time, you can just simply create a bot and let the bot do it. The second thing is it should be rule-based. There should be specific rule that is specify the whole task, right? There should not be something that requires human judgment or the human intervention, I would say. So if it is something that you can simply, create it using a rule that download an attachment, if the attachment is not found, reply to the particular sender. If the attachment is found, download it into a particular folder, zip it, and then reply to another folder. So it's a simple rule-based task. You have if conditions where you want to download. If it is found, then do this. If not, then do this, right? You can simply structure in a flow chart manner, right? It is completely understandable. So it should be rule-based. The third one says it should be structured. So if you are dealing with the data in the software robots, it should be completely structured. So if you're reading an Excel file in your automation task, it should have specified columns and rows. If the data is spread across cells, which you're not sure where it will be coming, then it becomes difficult for a RPA or a software robot to do such, I would say, automation. So all of your data that you're dealing should be in a digital format. It should not be in a non-digital format. And second, it should be always structured. So these are the three basic thumb rules that helps you to decide whether the RPA or a particular task is best suited for the RPA or not. With that, let's move on and let's see what are the use of RPA in business, right? So these are some of the examples where RPA is deployed in business department. So if you're working in any of the departments, you could be able to relate more, and we have written few of the use cases for each department where the RPA is being extensively used. But again, this is just few of the use cases. There are certain more. Coming to the finance department, if you see, which uses RPA at the maximum. So it has process to pay, order to cash, and record to report. So these are the few use cases that are dealing with structured data, for example, Excel file. And the basic rule-based are being done, basic calculations in the Excel is done, reconciliation is being done, right? You are creating pivots and you are creating basic rules in your whole task. So these are the process in the finance that can be easily automated. Coming to the supply chain, inventory management, invoice and contract management, right? So these are the basic tasks that, again, the automation can help you with, because these require applications which are either web-based or the desktop-based, and which can be easily automated using the software robots. Coming to the third one, which is IT. So you have server and app monitoring, right? And routine maintenance and monitoring. Again, this is something most of the IT team is doing, right? They would be monitoring certain applications, whether it is up, it is down, what is the downtime, if the particular virtual machine or a particular system is slow or not, right? So these are the certain things the IT team do. And again, this can be easily done by a software robot. It does not require a human brain. You just have to open certain applications, read the parameters, and on based of those parameters, you just have to decide whether the application is up and down or it's running fine or not. So again, this is completely rule-based and can be taken up by the bots. Coming to the HR, the payroll, onboarding, offboarding can be taken by the bots because it requires mostly email automation, because you are dealing with the emails and various structured documents. So the HR basically interact with PDFs, Word documents, Excel, and most of these things, right? So again, these are easily automated using the RPA. Client services, address change, scheduling appointments. These again requires, most of the applications used here are the web-based applications. And again, these client services tasks can be done. Accounting, which is something we can say mostly similar to the finance, accounts, reports, reconciliation, as I said, account creation and update, right? So if you're working in these departments basically use application, for example, SAP, right? So you have predefined activities for the SAP to interact and automate the whole application. Coming to the operations, order creation and update, work order request. These can be automated. Now, if you look at all of these use cases, these are rule-based. There is a specific rule that defines the whole process using a flow chart or a sequence, right? Also, these are repetitive, and all of the data that is being used in all of these processes are structured. So that is why they are best suited for the RPA and can be easily automated. So these are the few basic examples of RPA in business. Okay, so the previous session was about the whole RPA, what RPA is, why do we need RPA, what are the benefits of RPA, and what are the basic use cases, and why do we need everything we covered about RPA. Now, RPA is a technology, and UiPath gives you a tool that can help you to leverage the technology and create your own software robots. So do not get confused between the RPA and UiPath, right? So UiPath is a product. Now let's start with the introduction of UiPath. Right, so this has been the whole journey of UiPath, when it was founded and how it started with the journey of UI automation in 2013. And now with 2022, it is completely giving you the enterprise level automation, which has various products which are required to create the software robots, be it for an RPA developer or a citizen developer. Right, so it has one-stop solution which gives you the fully automated enterprise, right? Let's understand more about the UiPath platform. So the UiPath suite has 3 core components. The first one is UiPath Studio, the second is Orchestrator, and the third one is UiPath Robot, right? So these are the 3 core components of the UiPath platform. The first one is Studio, the UiPath Studio. Design automation workflow visually with minimum use of code. So this is where you design your software robots. This is where you will be creating a basic flow chart of what your robot is supposed to do, from where to pick the files, right? Everything rule-based automation is where you will be creating here using visually, visual based tool. So it is not that you have to code, you just have a drag and drop activities and a workflow studio where you can create your sequence and you can create your software robots. Now, once you're done with creating it, you have to deploy it. You have to deploy it to the orchestrator. So the orchestrator is another component that control, manage, and monitors the robot. So this is where you can control all of your automation robots, you can manage them, and you can schedule them. So if you want to run your bot, every time in the morning by itself, you do not want to come and click on the run button. So you can schedule it using the orchestrator, right? So this is where you deploy it. The orchestrator is optional. You do not have to use it all the time. The studio is where you can create it, right? Now coming to the third part, which says robot. Now, once you are done with the creation, who will be running your software robot? So robot is a component that is actually running all of your automation components. So it says execute, workflow, and instructions. So the two basic components that you use, which are mandatory, are Studio and Robot. Studio is where you design. Robot is the software that helps you to run that particular software design that you have created. Orchestrator is when you want to control and manage most of your robots, right? So it comes into the picture when you want to manage your automations, right? If you have 4 automations and right, you want to manage using the packaging and you want to make sure that you're using the correct version, right? So if you're doing a task, right, and for example, next month, there are certain variations in the task. So you have to update your software robot, right? That becomes your version 2. Now that version 2 can be uploaded or deployed on the orchestrator. So this is where you can manage all of your versions. Now, suppose if you want to run your version 1 again, so where you will find it? You can find it in the orchestrator easily. So this is where if you're dealing with a task that has variations, or if you're running multiple softwares, robots. So this gives you a central repository where you can do all of this. Again, in the orchestrator, there is something called as credential management. So if you're using credentials, which needs passwords and email addresses that you do want to securely save them. So this is where the orchestrator comes into the picture. So these are the 3 main components you have to just look at it. Nothing complex or nothing extra needed, right? So this was all about the UiPath as a product. Now let's understand what are citizen developers, right? We have RPA developer role. Similarly, what is the citizen developer role means, right? So the citizen developers are the non-technical persons who learn how to automate and want to use their skill to create simple automations for themselves or their departments in order to make more time for higher value work. So you can see in the very first line, we are saying citizen developers are the non-technical persons, someone who does not have the coding background, but they want to automate their task and create the simple automations. It does not mean that you'll be creating very complex automation. That becomes a RPA, the whole RPA developer role. If you're interested, you can definitely go towards that particular path. But if you're someone coming from a non-technical background, this is where the citizen developer roles comes into the picture, right? So they'll be creating simple automations for themselves or for their departments, not for the whole enterprise, right? In order to make more time for higher value work. They just want to do some meaningful task in their day-to-day life. That's why they are just have their own personal software robot. Now, what can citizen developers do? Learn how to build and run robots to make their work lives better. Automate the everyday work they do. Again, as we said, if you think there's something that is boring you're doing on your day-to-day life, give it to the software robots and do some meaningful tasks. Then third is run about products that improve your automation experience. For example, UiPath Assistant, UiPath StudioX, and the Automation Hub. So these are the 3 tools from the UiPath that are citizen developers friendly, and they are leveraged mostly by most of them. So UiPath Assistant, again, so from where you will be running your software if you have created them, deployed them, right? So UiPath Assistant is a I would say the software that can actually help you to run and manage all of your automations. The UiPath StudioX, this is where you are going to create your automations, and UiPath Automation Hub is another product where you can pitch in your ideas so that your managers and others can approve it. And if you want to create automations for your departments, then you can help most of your peers. So if something that you have developed, but you think that your colleague can also use it and could be helpful for them also, you can upload it to the UiPath Automation Hub. So it becomes a central repository for the reusable software robots, right? So you are also helping your peers by automating your own task as well as for their departments. Third, the fourth one says take part in knowledge sharing sessions and groundbreaking sessions. So now, since you have the knowledge of RPA, you know the whole concept of software robots and everything, you can be a part of the more knowledge sharing sessions and the groundbreaking discussion. So if something that is coming in your department, you can pitch in your ideas, you can share your thoughts. So you're not completely out of the technology, which is RPA. You have the whole concept in your mind, and you can also be a part of the discussions. So this is the whole picture of what the RPA citizen developer role is. Okay, so let's see now what the UiPath StudioX looks like. So as I said, UiPath StudioX is a tool or is a product from UiPath that helps you to automate your task, and it is for the citizen developers which do not have the technical background, right? So with StudioX, with UiPath StudioX, business users get a no-code platform to automate their task. Everyone benefits from more robots doing the repetitive, boring parts of the work, right? Now, we will jump in and see how you can install the UiPath StudioX, right? So if you want to follow along with me, you can do it. So if not, again, I would recommend you can watch the recording. So these are the steps. The first thing that we are going to do is we will sign up on the UiPath Automation Cloud. For that, you will need an email address, a valid email address. Then we will be downloading the UiPath StudioX installer from the Automation Cloud. We'll be running the installer and installing the UiPath StudioX, and then we'll be choosing the profile. So I will stop the presentation here. And I'll suggest all of you to go to cloud.uipath.com, which is a URL for the UiPath Automation Cloud. Once you open the URL, you will see the options to sign in using your email or using all of these 3 other options. Click on the sign up button if you want to use your personal email. Click on continue with email. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'll put in the email address, which is RPA series @ I'll create a password. Now you will get this pop-up to verify your email address. This is where we get the address. Now I'll just verify the email. Now we will just filling up the basic details now. Put in your first name and last name. Just choose the country. Okay, so once you're done with filling up the basic details, click on the next button. Now, the next thing that you have to do is name of the organization. So you are creating your organization automation cloud. So I'll give the same name as Africa series. Create the organization. And this will redirect you to the UiPath Automation Cloud homepage. Okay, so as you can see, we are at the homepage of UiPath Automation Cloud. You will see a blue button called Download UiPath Studio. So just to give you a brief overview of the cloud here, the UiPath Automation Cloud, right? It gives you basic services that you can utilize in your automation as a part of the cloud services, right? Again, you can get the most of the resources that you need help in by clicking on this help button. So if you click on the help button, you can actually see most of the documentation and the resources that you will need. You can also download the UiPath Studio, the preview, and if you want to download the stable version from here itself. So the stable version is this 21.10.5, while the preview version is this, right? So here we go. You can see the download UiPath Studio button. We will just click on it and we'll start the download. Okay, to save the time, maybe what we can do is I already have it in my folder. Right. So once you install it, right, you will have this UiPath Studio community file as an installer, right? So what you have to do is just do a double click on this file and it will start installing the UiPath Studio for you. This may take some time, but okay, now you will see this particular pop-up. This is for the advanced developers or the enterprise users, but we will continue as a community user. So choose this and accept the terms and condition and click on the install button. Again, these are just single click installation. You do not have to do anything. Nothing setup is required. No verification is required. Just install the UiPath installer from the automation cloud and double click on the installer file and just continue with the next buttons and it will install on your system. Meanwhile, again, if you have any doubts, please put your questions in the chat window. We'll be taking all of these questions at the end of the session. You can also see this particular UiPath icon on your system when it is installing. So one more thing is when you actually install this whole software, you do not have to explicitly install the UiPath robot and the UiPath assistant. With single installation, you will get UiPath StudioX as a designer, UiPath robot to run your automations, and UiPath assistant again to manage all your automations and run them anytime, anywhere. And again, as part of the installation, the UiPath StudioX needs the plugins in your web browsers to automate your task. So while the whole installation is being done, it will also install those plugins in your browsers. If you do not want to install them right now, you can click on the cancel button, but it is good that you also install all of those plugins so that you can automate all your browser based tasks as well. Emmanuel, can you tell me how much time we are left with?
Nidhi, we still have 15 minutes.
Okay.
We can stay 10 minutes longer, Nidhi, if needed, so don't worry about the time.
Sure.
Because
Just to stress to everyone that this session is just to get you acquainted in installing and setting up StudioX. And tomorrow, we're going to dive deep into actually automating stuff.
And also today we'll be creating a simple robot, and you will see how with just few clicks and activities you can automate your task within few minutes. So this is just going to be just a demo, but you will going to learn how to create the automations in the later sessions, as Afi said.
I also said in chat that we will be holding a Menti quiz right before Q&A after you end the demo, and we'll be giving away one UiPath prize.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Wow.
I see Dogara is telling us that he already installed. Great, Dogara. Yes, that's why we gave the links.
Thank you.
I'm very sure the guy is ready.
Okay, so as you can see, during the installation, we got this pop-up, set up the extension. So if you want to also install the extensions in your Chrome browser or any other browser, then you can do it right now. So I'll say okay. Once you press on the OK button, it will ask you to close all your browser sessions. Again, press on the OK button and it will install the plugin in Chrome for you. Now you can see completed the UiPath setup. Just say launch UiPath Studio. Also, if you want to see, we can see in the Chrome whether the plugin has been installed or not. So here it is initializing the settings. This is your service URL. Press sign in. It will again take you to the UiPath Automation Cloud page. Just say open UiPath. And it has automatically recognized you with your email address. So it will connect with your organization that we created initially, remember. RPA Africa series is the organization we created while setting up the account. So it will just connect you with that. Now, next thing you have to do is choose the profile. This is where you do not have to make mistake. Please choose UiPath StudioX because all the citizen developers are not required, but are recommended to work on this tool because it is a no code platform. You do not have to use the coding. So choose this. So if you also want to see, you can go actually the settings. And in the extensions, you can see this particular UiPath Web Automation extension has been installed, right? Make sure that this developer mode is on, then only you can automate. And if you want to enable it, this is where you enable the extension and disable it from here, right? That's all about the extension. Now you will see the UiPath StudioX welcome screen. These are the tutorials you want to see, the academy courses and all of these things, right? Now you can see this is the welcome screen. This is where you can create a blank task. So this is where you are creating your first project. Again, from the UiPath, there are predefined templates if you want to use. So if you want to download a file from a website, you do not want to create a software robot from scratch. The UiPath has already given you a basic code so that you can just use it and do it for you. So these are the reusable components the UiPath has already given you. If this is not included, if you click on the more templates, you can actually see all of these. Save Outlook attachment. This is something very basic that we do. So you do not have to create a software robot for it. You can just simply use it, configure your email address, and that's all you have to do, right? And if you go to the tools part, this is where you can find all the extensions. If you are working with Chrome, please install the Chrome extension. We have already done it, right? Similarly for the other Firefox, Edge. Again, if you are working with the Excel automation, make sure that you install the Excel add-in. This all will be covered in the later sections. Again, if you go to the settings, these are the basic settings that you will see in the StudioX. These are the general settings, theme, language, and everything. This is the design. This is again at the project level if you want to handle, right? So what should be the timeout of the activities? This is where you can mention the auto backup intervals. So all of these are basic design level, the settings. Now, where do you want to save all the automations? So these are the locations that you can change. This is the by default location. If you want to save your libraries, process, and projects somewhere else, give the paths here. If there are so many so if there are so many sources from where you are creating the automations, so these are the by default UiPath gives you. But again, this comes into the very advanced concept. So if you have software robots from the other sources, you can include those sources here and import your software robots. Coming to the license and profile, as I said, if by default, by mistake, you clicked on the UiPath Studio, but you want to go back to the UiPath StudioX, you have to come here, settings, license and profile, click on this, and again choose UiPath StudioX. So this is from where you can change the profiles. Team, if you're working with a team and you want to share your automation bots, so these are the source control from the UiPath StudioX itself, you can work together as a team, right? So these are done, tools and settings are done. These are the templates as I showed you. Coming back to the start page, right? So now let's create a basic task and say session 1 intro. Okay, so this is the by default location. Again, you can change it. This is your process or your project name. Give it a very meaningful name, right? And description, if you want to describe what your project is doing, you can mention what it is actually doing. Then click on the create button. It will create a blank project or a blank canvas for you where you can create the whole software robot. So again, here it will take some time because it will create the dependencies and create the workspace for you. Okay, it is getting the things ready. So this is how a blank task or a blank project would look like. If you see, there are two tabs. One is called home. If you click on home, you will go back to your home screen. And this is the design panel, right? Now, if you go to the project and you click on the open project folder, this is where you can see that where all your automation files are saved. So this is where the session 1 intro, your project has been saved, right? Notebook, again, by default, UiPath StudioX gives you a project notebook, which is an Excel file where you can store all of your data while you are using within your automation. Again, this will be covered in the later sections. Manage packages, if you want to see. So these are the packages that help you to automate your task. So if you're working with the mail automation, make sure that this mail package is installed. If you're working with the Word automation, make sure the Word automation package is installed. So these packages help you to automate that particular application. Excel, we will need the Excel-based package. So this is where you can manage all of it. You can search for more here and you can install it. App and web recorder, this is used to record your actions. If you do not want to create a software robot from scratch, you can record the actions you're doing on the screen and the software robot will be created for you. Analyze is if you want to see if there are no errors in your project, you can use the analyze button. Export to Excel, and then we have the publish. If you want to publish, or if you want to, as I said, deploy your software robot to the orchestrator, or on your laptop as well, you can use the publish button, right? And this is again simple run button. Once you're done with creating your software robots, you have to click on the run button. Done. Now let's look at this particular part. You can see this particular blank screen is where you will be creating the software robot, but how are you going to create? For that, UiPath StudioX gives you basic building blocks called as activities. So if you see it just now here at the left panel, these are the activities. Now these have been categorized based on the application that you want to automate. If you want to automate an app or web-based automation, you just expand it and you can see all the activities that you can use. Type into, if you want to type something into the application, wait for download, clicking on something, right? So these are the basic activities you can use. Excel based, right? If you want to create a pivot table, you want to create a chart, you want to read a range, you want to write something into the application, the Excel application, you can use all of these activities, right? So these are the drag and drop activities. You just need to drag it into the workflow, create the workflow, and that's all you have to do. No coding is required. If you're, for example, reading multiple Excels in your applications, right? So what you can do is you can manage all of your resources here. So if you look at the right panel, resources, this is where you can add all of your resources you are using in your automation. If you're using Word file, Excel file, PPTs, right? Just import them here by clicking on the plus button. And that's all you have to do. This will be available in your automation. These are again, properties is what we will be seeing. And yeah, that's pretty much, and you will be looking at most of these features in the later sessions. So don't worry, this is just the overview. So now let's start creating a very simple robot and see how it's going to work. Now this is called as unicorn name generator. We will be doing the basic web-based automation using UiPath StudioX. So how you can automate your tasks which you are doing in a Chrome window or any other web browser, right? We will be seeing it right now. So what I'll be doing is I'll be putting my name. So this is something I'm doing manually, but now the bot will be doing it. I'll choose the month of my birth and click on the get name. And then I'll be reading my unicorn name and I'll be displaying it on the screen. That's all we have to do. I'll recommend all of you also to do it as a part of the exercise after this session, because this is going to be really fun. Okay, so for this, we will be needing the app and web automation, right? We are working on a web-based application. So thing that we are going to use activity is use application browser. So one thing that you will be looking at in UiPath StudioX is whenever you are connecting with an application, if you're doing the web automation, you have to connect with that particular page. If you're working with an Excel, you have to first connect with that Excel. Then only you can perform the automations on those particular resources. So you can see all of them has been categorized like this here. Use application browser if you're automating a browser. Use desktop Outlook app if you're automating Outlook. So these are called the resources, and these help you to first connect with that application. So first requirement is connect with the application, and we are going to connect with a web browser application. Done, we will be using it. So this is called as resource, and you will be finding it under the resource section. Now you can simply double click on it or drag and drop. Both the things can work. Now indicate application to automate. Do a left click, and once you will see this orange window coming up, it means it is actually identifying, but it is not right now because it says cannot communicate with browser. So it means there is something with the extension. So let's check the extension first. Right, so we have disabled the extension. Make sure you enable it. We are done. I'll indicate again. Now you can see a green screen coming up, right? It says click to select the application. Make sure that particular page is open, not any other tab in the Chrome is open. We'll just do a left click and it will identify the URL by itself. You can see the URL is there and the screen of the web page is also there, correct? Now, within this particular application, what we are going to do, we are going to click, select, read, that's all. So let me just do it quickly. You're going to understand more in the later sections. So I'll use an activity called typing to within this scope. And I'll indicate, okay, again, some issues maybe. Okay, let me close all of these, refresh it, checking the settings again. Extensions are enabled. Okay, so this is your target. This is where I want to enter. And this is going to identify the particular text box. What I want to type, I'll click on the plus button and say text. I want to type my name and done. The next thing that I want to do is I want to select the item. When it says select item, here you have the select item activity. Click on the drop down. This is your target. This is your anchor. Click on the confirm. I want to select June, which is my birth month, coming in 2 months. And then I want to click on the get name button. That's all. We are done. And once it is done, I also want to read from the screen. For that, I will have something called as text. Yes. So the get text comes after the click. Clicking on this, reading this, whatever the value will come. And this is my anchor to identify. And where I want to save, I would like to save it in a clipboard. I just copy it to clipboard and I would like to display in a message box. After this, and I want to display something which I just now copied in the clipboard. Done. We are ready with the automation. It will be performing the 4 steps, right? Type, select, click, read, right? And it just took us a few minutes to create the bot. We just need to click on the run button. And let's see the automation in action. We'll type the name, select the month, click on the button, read and display. So this is what we have got it from here. So this is how you can create your basic automations using UiPath StudioX. It's very straightforward, no coding is required and anyone can do it. So that's all about the UiPath StudioX. So these are the main features we have already covered in the StudioX tool itself. Okay, so if we have the templates, right? You can simply use them. You have the whole activity package to automate the Outlook, Gmail or SAP. All of these activity packages are available. You can simply go ahead and install those packages and automate these applications. You have a project notebook that lets you apply your Excel knowledge to the automation, right? The Excel file that we saw in the project folder, you can do the calculations within your automation project using that particular Excel. Then you can do the simple scheduling of the UiPath StudioX using the UiPath Assistant. Again, scenarios that show you best practices. We just now saw one of the scenarios. And these all the advanced topics, how to handle the error if that is coming in the automation is what will be covered in the later sections. And we are open for Q&A now. Emmanuel, are you there?
I'm with you, Nidhi.
Yes, Nidhi, we're here. I think we should go for the Menti now and then see if there are any questions. Or would you like to go with the questions first?
I think someone is raising up her hand.
Okay, let's go through the questions now then, and then we'll do the Menti quiz.
Thank you, Nidhi, for this presentation.
You should know, guys, that you can unmute yourself to ask the question live now. So you can, I have enabled, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Tolu, you can unmute your hands. You're raising up your hand. Tolu?
Okay, yeah. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Really great to be here. Thank you for organizing this. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. So I have a question, and my question is it possible to use RPA? So I know that when we, when we're talking earlier, when you were speaking to us earlier, I think, well, I got the sense that it was like maybe it was mostly from like automating repetitive tasks from maybe Excel and the likes. So what happens when you're trying to automate a task that happens from, say, for instance, a market research software or like a CRM sort of? Would it be possible to actually do that? I know that one of the rules was that it has to be there has to be like a rule. So say you're trying to gather data from a particular site using maybe for instance, let me give an example. Say you're searching for people with a particular title or with some particular titles. Would it be possible to use RPA for this type of task? Thank you.
Yes, definitely we can use it. So something that you have described just now, the scenario, right? It actually comes into the user interface automation, which we will be covering in, I guess, Thursday. We have a session. You can actually look into that particular session, that how you can automate any web-based or desktop-based applications using this. So when you say CRM based applications, they are mostly the desktop based applications, right? For example, SAP, right? This can be easily automated. And as I said, finance automations are purely dependent on these applications. So yes, it is completely can be done, and you'll be looking into more into the upcoming sessions.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for a great question.
Thank you.
Nidhi, one question, Webaware.
Okay, Baba, yes, you can ask your question.
Yeah. When we install the UiPath StudioX, right? So when we click on sign in, so it is navigating for me, it is navigating to the browser. So post that, I mean, what steps we need to perform? Because for me, that UiPath application did not sign in.
Okay, so it should actually automatically take your the account, your automation UiPath account, automation cloud. If you're using two, I would say automation cloud account, make sure that you are signed out from all of them and you are signed in with a single account on that particular automation cloud. So that will not be, a problem when you are, setting up the UiPath Studio.
Okay, so basically when I click on sign in and open the browser,
Right.
so it will automatically get signed in inside the application also.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
You do not have to do anything. It will automatically authenticate and authorize everything. It will be done by and it will even the browser and the Chrome, everything will be opened by itself by the UiPath itself. There'll be one pop-up called as open UiPath Studio something. There'll be a pop-up. Just click on that particular button. That's all you have to do.
Sure.
Thank you. Dami, can you ask your question? Olukoya Dami. Olukoya Dami,
I can see one question in the chat which says, can UiPath can be used offline? So I would say yes, it can be used offline.
Okay, that is to Dogara. Dogara, it can be used offline. Olukoya Dami, can you ask a question now?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Can you hear me? All right, thanks for the presentation. Really, I really appreciate it. Well, what I want to ask now, I want to ask about the difference between Studio and StudioX. Since we are seeing two options, there is to choose one. So what will be the difference if you are choosing the other? Just want clear difference between the two.
Sorry, I couldn't get the question. If you can maybe type.
His question is, what's the difference between Studio and StudioX? Am I correct, Dami?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so these are just the two profiles from UiPath for two different roles, right? So UiPath Studio is a tool that can be used by the RPA developers who have the coding background or the technical knowledge, because it requires a little bit of coding experience for you to create the automation robots. So this is where this UiPath Studio comes into the picture. The UiPath StudioX is a no-code or the low-code platform from UiPath for the citizen developers or people who do not have the prior coding or the technical knowledge. So you do not have to create any coding in UiPath StudioX. So this is what it is intended for the audience which do not have the prior, again, the technical knowledge. That's the basic difference. The other difference is with the UiPath StudioX, you can create very basic and simple automations only. That is why it has very limited capabilities or the basic capabilities that the citizen developer would need. While in the case of UiPath Studio, which is another profile, which is intended for the RPA developers, it offers you more capabilities and you can create more complex automations. So this is the basic or the general difference between the two profiles. but the installer is completely same. The installer is same, so do not get confused. Once you install the UiPath StudioX, this is where you get to choose between the profile. But again, as I said, the installer is same.
Okay, thank you for that, Nidhi. Aki Bode Odunoye, can you ask a question? You can unmute.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. And the question I'll ask, actually, I'm an accountant, and I saw the things RPA can do around the O2C, P2P, and R2R processes reconciliation. And based on the slight introduction that the speaker had done, I just want to touch, based on the O2C, R2R process, how can this be applied? Or am I too quick to ask this question, or it will be touched later? Because I'm very much interested on how this can be applied in the accounting and finance field.
So mostly in account and most of the finance departments, right? The applications that we usually interact with is the Excel application, right? And that's what you will be doing most of your time, right? So there's a specific session on Excel automation, which you can attend so that you can actually get to know how you can also automate your task.
Yes. Does that answer your question, Akibade?
Yeah, you know, she has only mentioned, you've only mentioned Excel, because when you look at the order to cash, which is more like the employee process, that is not Excel. So how is that going to be applied? Is it when you are doing your invoice, or when you are making your order or shipment or billing, or your three-way matching, your PO, your invoices, good receipt voucher, or when your bank reconciliation, or you're raising your journals, or how do you bring RPA in play in these reasons? Because that would be very much helpful. It's quite relatable for me, how I can apply RPA to finance processes, accounting processes.
Okay.
Okay. So I would say I would just add a little bit. So we will not be covering the whole use cases which I presented today in the upcoming sessions. But as you said that, you know, you will be working with the invoices, right? Again, which is mostly in the PDF format. So again, there will be a session for PDF automation. So this is how you can actually learn, because there are sessions defined or created to automate a particular application, right? So you can learn how to automate these applications, and then you can use all of those within your task, because I'm sure you'll be interacting with more than one application. As you said, invoice would be requiring you to read the PDF data, right? In case you are working with a mail, that would require the Outlook or the Gmail or any other application. If there is a specific application which is specific to your organization, that will come into the picture of user interface or the UI automation, which will be again coming up. So there will not be a certain use case we will be covering, but we'll be covering how to automate a specific applications so that you can apply those ideas and into your own automations.
Okay, thank you, Nidhi. She has said it all. I'll just add this to what Nidhi just said. You are going to learn a lot of stuff from how you can, how UiPath can interface with third-party applications. You are going to learn a lot of stuff. So just follow through, and I'm very sure you won't regret it. Thank you, Nidhi, for this session. Okay, so we are going to jump quickly to the quiz session. Christina?
Yes.
Video, are you ready?
Just about the integrations and how UiPath can be on this with other different software applications. We have a technology integration series coming up. It will be launched in a couple of days. And within this technology series, you will learn how it can interact with data analytics platforms such as Alteryx, Click, also other types of software like CyberArk. And also, if you go on the community.uipath.com website and you go to the bottom where we have the chapters of community, and you go into the global chapters, you will see we have many more integration series there, where you find UiPath integration with several software such as SAP, Workday, Microsoft environment, and also sessions on the UiPath integration service. So you will find all in the global chapters, EMEA, APAC, or Americas. You will find the sessions there, and also on our YouTube community channel. Let me share you the YouTube channel with you now in chat. And then we'll go into Mentimeter. Okay. So this is the YouTube channel of community. You will find all sessions here. Yes, on integrations, and you can check out what we have released so far as integrations with other software. Okay, now I will share my screen, and you will go to menti.com. You can go from mobile or from desktop, it doesn't matter. Wait a bit, and I will also share a code with you to enter the session. The code is 1192 3263. Okay. Paste this code to enter the session in Mentimeter, and I'm going to start with it now. Okay. Let me see you gather up now and how attentive you are in this session. The quiz is going to be very easy, so don't worry about that. I'm sure you will be able to answer. But it's also important for you to know that it matters how fast you answer to get the most points in the game. And we have one single winner. So in the final leaderboard, we will see one winner. Okay. Oh, wait. Wait. It dropped. I'm sorry.
Come on, guys. We are 66
No,
on
you're
this
still
call.
here.
So
You're
let me
still here.
remove
It's
6
okay.
persons. So can we join the quiz, please?
Okay.
Still
So
just 19 persons.
you go to menti.com for the quiz link. Okay. I'm going to start presenting now. No, there are not questions displayed because we're waiting for everyone to join the quiz room. And after everyone joins the quiz room, well, not really everyone, but then we'll start the quiz. We'll start now. Okay, so answer fast to get more points.
Answer correctly too.
So what human-computer interactions can be easily automated?
Answer it on your phone or laptop on the platform Menti quiz, not on the chat.
So most of you got this right. It's okay. Let's move to the next question now. Please, guys, be silent. A bit. It's easy. As you can see, it's very easy. Yes, most of you got it right. Perfect. Yes, it's true. Involving decision levels, it's not a way to automate. You can do it, and you also have attended robots, and you can break the cycle, and it can be done, but it's hard. We'll move on to the next. See who is leading. Okay, so we have Noni so far. We have one more question, however. So this is the final question, guys, and this will decide the winner. Which of this is not one of the main features of UiPath StudioX? So it cannot be found in StudioX, yes? Great. Okay, this was the hardest we got. So this was the hardest question. And now let's see the final leaderboard. And who is the winner of today's session, which was a great session, absolutely great. Okay. So it was a final switch of places. Vibe up, congratulations. Please give me your email in the chat box now.
Sure. Thank you so much. It was really great. Yeah.
Yes, I thank you, all of you, and Nidhi and Emmanuel for organizing this. I think you all agree that Nidhi was an absolutely great trainer for this first session. We will have more menti quizzes if you follow through with these sessions, and they will be slower in pace, so you manage to actually build a robot tomorrow on the session. Nidhi, thank you very much for delivering this incredible session, and this was truly incredible because so many of you attended, and I hope you learned something and you enjoyed the session. Vibe up, I'm waiting for your email. Yes, in chat, please, to me. You can give it just to me in PM, so nobody else sees it. Okay.